Ladies and gentlemen, it's your old buddy Snap On Mark with the Snap On Ratchet hack of the century here. You can pick up these 71 series half-inch drive ratchets damn near anywhere. You see them all the time at estate sales and yard sales, Craigslist, eBay, and they usually go between 20 and 25 bucks, and they're not too desirable unless you get something special about them. You have something that's stamped from a company that's collectible, that sort of thing, but they generally don't go for a whole heck of a lot of money, and they look cool as hell, but the reason that people don't like them anymore and they've fallen out of favor is they're only 20 tooth. So mechanics, they try to lean towards the side of finer tooth stuff these days. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take one of these 20 tooth dinosaurs, and I'm going to show you how to turn it into a 32 tooth badass. It's almost like swapping an LS motor into an old Hot Rod 55 Chevy or something. You're getting the best of both worlds. You get the cool looks, the cool aesthetic. All right, guys, I picked out a 71N here. It is a 1945. You can tell by the G and the brass selector switch here. The brass selector switch tells me that it's never been rebuilt before, so this one's a good candidate. It's in real nice shape. There's not any surface rust or anything, and you can tell, like I said, it's just the coarse 20 tooth in there. So let's bust it apart here and see what's going down. You just take these two screws out. I use a teal snap-on screwdriver, but you could probably go with another color. I mean, I would stick probably with a warm color, some sort of primary color. You can go with red or fluorescent green would be fine. I would just stay away from the yellows for this kind of work. That would just be my suggestion. I mean, you can do what you want, but I'm just telling you how I do things. Okay, so let's pop the plate off with the gear. And this thing looks like it's in really good shape. And of course, we'll reuse this cover plate. And you could tell that it's dry inside, but it looks like it's in excellent condition. What you're going to want to do is get this rebuild kit, RKRA711. These are still available directly from Snap-on, or I think I got this one on eBay for $15.99, which I was like, who cares? I'd rather spend the 16 bucks than argue with Snap-on about, warranty and whatnot. So I got that sucker going, and there's going to be some parts that you don't use in here. The only thing that we're going to use is the switch and the pawl and obviously the anvil. And you can tell right away this sucker is a 20 tooth, and that's the new one, the 32 tooth. So that's our big upgrade there. I mean, you could tell what a difference. But all right, guys, I got the vise set up here, and we just leave the cover plate and the anvil out. And you don't have to use a whole bunch of violence to get this thing out. We're just popping the pin out. It's peened over, and you'll see when we reassemble it, I mean, it's not particularly strong. It just peens over. So after I said that, there's no chance in hell I'll ever get this thing out, but it should just come right off. So what you do is just kind of set it down where it has some room to move out. And you can use a punch, or I got just an awl here, just a cheap awl. I'm going to give it my awl. And of course, since I mentioned that, it's never ever going to work, but we'll try it here. Let's pop it out. Alright, so it looks like it started. I apologize for the camera work there, but you can see it's starting to pull the pin out. Okay, guys, I hate it when they leave stuff out for how-to, so I just wanted to go over this real quick with you. When we last left off, we had that down just a little bit, unseated for the switch. And so all I was saying is you just need something smaller diameter than that to poke it the rest of the way out. So I used a finishing nail, but you could actually, you could use anything smaller. So say, nail, you're just popping it, and that's going to pop the switch out. The switch you can discard because they give you a new one to use. So that's junk. Get rid of that. And then when you're taking this apart, when you're taking the pawl apart, just be mindful that ball is going to, been in there 60 years. It's going to come out like Andy Dufresne coming out of Shawshank. So watch yourself that you don't lose it. So I like to hold it upside down, and then, you could just slide it out and bump the camera if you can. Try to bump the camera real good. All right. So you'll see the BB come out, and then there's going to be that spring inside. and we're going to reuse those. I know in the kit you'll see they give you a new spring and a new bullet thing, but we're not going to use those because they're too tall. So you just utilize the original one that it came in. And I know earlier I said that the dimensions were identical. They're not identical, but the dimensions that count are, you know, the ones that we need are the same. Because if you compare these two, you'll see that there's actually 2 catches on the new pawl for the finer tooth gear, and the older one significantly larger as well. But the where it counts, it's the same. The circumference on both of these matches the plate and the back of the ratchet, so they fit in there perfectly. And then same thing if you take a look at the anvil. This one is quite a bit deeper, but once again it doesn't matter because once that's seated in there, the plate holds it for the new one. Okay guys, let's get the pawl installed. So first things first, you know, we'll set that spring down in there. Alright, and then we're going to grab the BB. I got this little set of 45-degree Nipex I like to use. And you can always put a little dab of grease on the ball too that keeps it from flying away. So I'm sure after I say that it's 100% going to fly off. And then I made this little 90-degree tool. If you've seen any of my other videos, I always use it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just, you know, a thin piece of metal at a 90-degree angle. And all you're using that for is just to hold this flush. So once that gets down flush, you can use your one hand to hold it. Sorry for the camera work here. I'm trying to get it to focus. Okay, one hand to hold it, and then one to slide the pawl in. And once that's flush, it'll just slide out. So now we've got the pawl installed in there. You know. All right, guys. My advice for this step is just take your time, and you only get one shot at peening the switch over. So just make sure everything's all ready to go before you do that final step. So first things first, the real basic stuff, just make sure the switch is in the right position. So here it's aimed on, so you're going to stick that through in on position. And then my advice, what I do is put the cover plate on. Because, I mean, it's not like this thing's a show ratchet or something, you know, that it has to be perfect. So I stick the cover plate on, and then I run the screws through. See which this you're going to want to go clockwise on this, on these screws. And this part, pay careful attention because I'm screwing them down clockwise. Alright. I apologize if it's I'm over explaining things, but I hate the how-to videos where they sort of fast forward through stuff and you're like, well, what the hell? So I figure I'll take you every step of the way if you're actually following along. And if you're not following along, I'm sure you already swiped a long time ago. Alright, so we got that, and what that does is kind of hold it into place, and you can see how it sticks up there, and we're just peening that over. So you want to put the switch against the hard surface. This just a little anvil section of the vise here is perfect for me, but anything will work. And then peen it down. That just mushrooms it out on the. I always use a super lube. I've been accused of using too much at a time, but I like the stuff, and what you don't use kind of squirts out. So I'll probably accept that criticism. All right, so put the new wheel in, and I actually even like squeezing some in after it's already together. And then inevitably you get some coming out, but just all the moving parts, you know, you might as well have it on there. And I'd like to say a big thanks for everybody that watched all along there. And I just thought it was a pretty cool hack. And like I say, it's kind of like having an LS motor in an old hot rod. You know, you've got a badass half-inch drive 32 tooth ratchet. I mean, and you're under $50 easily, even with the kit. So, and I love the looks of these old ratchets. I mean, the aesthetic is just fucking killer. So, all right, here comes the big moment here. We've got it all tightened up. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, buttery smooth. And let's see directions. Oh yeah. Yep, fine tooth, badass snap-on ratchet on the cheap, guys.